Welcome into Skyridge High School for KSL Sports Rewind player and coaches interviews, brought to you by Edge Homes and Mo Bettas. Want to thank Edge Homes and Mo Bettas for their sponsorship here of KSL Sports Rewind. Look, we are at our game of the week Thursday night, Skyridge hosting Lone Peak. It's why you want KSL Sports at your game of the week, so we can come and talk to your coach and your players, give you a little perspective that you maybe not know about big-time contributors making big-time plays, and there were a lot of those on Thursday night for Skyridge. We had a chance to meet with offense and defense, as well as Coach Hem talked about coming off of a tough Week 7, what Week 8 meant, and kind of how that game went for this Skyridge team. It felt like a tale of two halves. We get a chance to talk with multiple players about Thursday night's win. All right, here with a couple of Skyridge defensive studs, Griffin Coons, Harvey Moyai, and fellas, let's start. Obviously, big game Thursday night, took on Lone Peak. Talk to us a little bit about that game, because defense, first half, you guys stood really strong, really limited Lone Peak and kept kind of your team in the game. What was the key for you guys defensively going up against Lone Peak in this one?
I think we knew we had to put pressure on the quarterback, and our secondary, they stepped up this game. They helped us out a lot. And throughout this week of practices, we stepped it up, emphasizing keeping each other accountable, and that helped us out a ton this game.
Yeah, I felt like a big focus for us was stopping the run game, and I felt like we did a very good job of that, especially the first half. So I feel like with that focus, we were able to handle them pretty well.
Well, Lone Peak has been able to run the football really well. What do you guys think was key for you defensively to slow down their running game?
Yeah, the stunts, having our backers come up with the D-line. Yeah, just filling in the gaps, that helped us stop the run. That was what we emphasized in practice, and then we played it out in game.
Last week was kind of a tough game. Doesn't really show how good Skyridge is, that Corner Canyon game. How much motivation that give you guys as a defense to come out and play better against Lone Peak and have the kind of game you guys had on Thursday?
But it was a great wake-up call for us. We really were humbled and locked in, and we're going to be ready for the rest of the season. Guys,
what's it like to play for Coach Hem? Obviously, he's been here for a couple of years at Skyridge. What is it like to play for him here as a Falcon?
He's a great coach. I have a good relationship with Coach Hem, having him in class last year, and then we spend a lot of time here at the school, and it's good having him as a coach, but you can count on him as a friend too.
Yeah, I mean, not only is he a great coach, but he's a great person, and you can really tell that he cares about each person individually. He's just been a great coach and a great friend.
Talk to us a little bit about I'm going to go back to another question first, because I got to ask you this question. There were a couple times where you're like man on a missile. I mean, there were a couple times where Cruz Christiansen's there and you're just like deadlocked on him. What is your favorite part? What do you think you bring this Skyridge defense, and what's your favorite aspect of playing linebacker here?
I mean, I just love being in the middle of the defense, calling the plays and being able to help out on both the run and getting pressure on the quarterback, as well as dropping back in the pass. I just love that position, being able to be in all parts of the defense. So.
It's quite the celebration after you guys won in double overtime. What was that like to be able to beat Lone Peak? It's been a great rivalry over the small years of these two programs being in the same region. What was that like to be able to celebrate? Felt like there was a little extra celebration in that one, just a lot of satisfaction coming out with that win.
It was amazing, having senior night, having all the family and friends in the stands, playing for them and playing for the team. It was just awesome having that experience.
Yeah, like you said, at senior night, there's just a lot of motivation to play for our legacy, for our family, and just to be able to come out with that win, especially in the way that we did, it was just a real moment.
Speaking of legacy, I have to ask this question. Any symbolism behind the numbers you guys wear? Any stories behind like your jersey number or anything special that you take from your respective numbers?
For my number, I just like 11. I think
it's a great edge number, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's what it's been. I just like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always liked the number 0, but especially with Deshaun last year, I mean, he's a great defensive player, and he's going to be remembered here for years, and so just hopefully I can live on his legacy.
Well, Skyridge defense flew around on Thursday night. Big contributors in the Skyridge win. Fellas, congratulations. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, here with Keneal Sweetwine and Lincoln Tahi, two-headed monster for the Skyridge offense Thursday night. Fellas, I want to start with, we'll start with the first half. You guys had a couple of drives in that first half where you moved the ball really well, couldn't quite finish the drives with points. Second half, you guys were able to finish drives and into overtime. What do you think was the difference in the second half and overtime compared to the first half, which really led to your success of being able to capitalize?
I think the big difference from the second half was just effort all around. just the O-line, and then we were able to get our run game going, and Lone Peak couldn't stop it. And so I think that was a big part of the difference in the second half.
Your guys' defense did a really good job limiting that Lone Peak offense in the first half. How helpful was that for you as an offense to be able to, you're down 10-0, but come out in the second half and know, hey, a few things, we can really try to optimize in the second half, knowing that your defense kind of kept you in that game. How much of a pickup did that give for you as an offense?
I just think defense helps out a lot. The energy they bring to the team, especially the defense guys. And the linebackers and everything, they just come out with a lot of energy, and I guess that gets us hyped, so it just got to keep it rolling.
Kanil, I want to ask you this question because we've kind of seen you, we've heard about you since you were a freshman and see you get times as a sophomore and then starting last year and now this year as a senior. How do you feel like your game has developed over the last couple of years to where now, like, you look like very confident in charge of the offense, you can throw it, you can run it. How do you feel like your game has progressed?
It comes with a lot of experience, but I feel like just in the off season, just putting in work with a lot of these guys, getting to know them a whole lot better, getting the ball out with them timing wise, and just watching a whole lot more film. I think that's helped a lot, and then just got out there and execute.
And Lincoln, I mean, look, we made this comment on the stream, and I'll apologize now, but in pads, like, you don't look like this big physical back, but man, you play with so much physicality, and it feels like you seek after contact. Talk about kind of your running style, who you try to model it after.
I try to be just like my father, he taught me everything I know, just the way to run the ball, be physical, head down, and I just give all credit to my dad.
In really the fourth quarter, it felt like you guys had that Lone Peak defense kind of worn out. Felt like you could really kind of run. Obviously, your option play, read, you guys could really kind of do whatever you wanted. Did that give you guys a lot of confidence going into overtime, knowing that, like, hey, we kind of got them on their heels, we feel pretty good with things?
Yeah, it felt great to know that, or just to get the offense rolling, and we kind of hit flow state, It felt good. We were just playing our game, and we controlled everything we were able to control, and so we got the outcome we wanted.
I think everyone was kind of surprised in Week 7. I don't feel that Corner Cane game really showed how good you guys are as a team. What motivation did that give you guys as an offense preparing for Lone Peak in Week 8?
I guess it just showed that we can get punched in the mouth, that we're not just the best team out there everywhere we go. So it showed that we just have to keep working and get better at everything we do.
Certainly one of, as you displayed on Thursday night, one of the best teams in the state. Who's kind of the player that leads the post-game celebration? It felt like there was a lot of celebration, jubilation after that win. Who's kind of the guy that's like, in the post-game, in the locker room, on the bus, who's helping to lead the celebration for the team?
I think one of my main boys is Suka Finau, always keeping the sideline up when the offense is in and just bringing the energy all around. And then Latu Moyai, he's playing both ways, always bringing that energy, and he's always in the game, just giving his best.
Sure, I would just give it to the whole linebackers group. I would say they're a bunch of goofy guys, so they like to come out and goof off sometimes, but they definitely do keep us hyped, and they keep us energetic sometimes.
What's it like playing for Coach Hem here at Skyridge?
It's a big difference. I transferred from Bingham, and it's a big difference in the program. Coach Hem is one of the best coaches I ever played with, and it's just a blessing to be over here.
I would say it's probably the best thing I've done. Probably I transferred from Orem as well. I think it's a great thing. He holds us to a high standard. He wants us to be the best man we can on and off the field. So I just think he wants us to be the best we can, and then he just strives for anything.
Well, certainly appreciate you guys. It's super impressive. Loved what you guys showed in that second half, the resilience to stick with it, even though you were being down, and obviously it paid huge dividends. Congratulations on the big win. And Skyridge, Kanil Sweetwine, and Lincoln Tahi. Here with Coach Justin Hem. Coach, maybe let's start. At Skyridge Lone Peak, you guys lost, Week 7 to Corner Cane. How big did you feel like this game was for your team, not just for standings and win-loss, but also kind of to come off of bitter taste from the prior week?
Yeah, I think this was a great test for us, right, and our character as a team. We got smacked in the face a little bit the week before. And these 5 weeks that we've went through have been a real challenge and grind, right? Going out of state 2 weeks in a row, flying to Cherry Creek on a Friday, coming back on a Saturday, playing Lehigh on a Thursday, Corner on a Friday, and then Lone Peak on a Thursday. So I think our boys have really accepted that challenge, wanted that challenge, and I'm really proud of how they responded right at the end of kind of that grind of a schedule.
Talk about the response, because I think, you guys moved the ball in that first half, but you didn't have any points to show for it. Second half, that ground game got going. What did you feel like was maybe one of the shifts or something that helped that second half and the overtimes kind of get your boys refocused and find success?
Yeah, I think we were doing some good things offensively in the first half. We ran 44 plays. I mean, in time of possession, we had 17 minutes. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters, right? All that matters is points. And kind of challenging the boys a little bit, and there was confidence still that we could do things offensively, but maintaining and finishing drives was kind of the focus and the emphasis. And I think these guys, as the game went on, from an assignment sound standpoint, executed very well at some key situations and critical moments.
I want to talk about Keneal, because obviously I think we've seen his maturation grow, and there even plays on Thursday night where I think in prior years he maybe tries to force something, but on Thursday it's like, no, I'm going to take it, I'm going to live another down, and I think that kept your offense in the game. How do you feel like his progression has been last year to this year? Where has he grown the most?
Yeah, I think mentally, emotionally, his leadership has really grown throughout, and it's fun to see him. And we acknowledged him a little bit yesterday in our team meeting. I think from a leadership standpoint, this was one of the best games I've seen from him. At times, right, you can get caught up where we got to make the big play, but emphasis was making the right play. And whether that's moving the chains, whether that's, converting a third and short to keep the chains moving, putting the ball in the end zone. If we got to punt, we got to punt, right? So making the right play, I thought he did tremendously all game long.
You talk about the grind that your team has been through, the travel, the out of state, and then obviously this region every week, you got to bring your A game. Where do you feel like this team is? Just a couple weeks left in the regular season. You feel like there's still room for this team to grow?
I do. I think there's still room for this team to grow. I like where we're at, and I think confidence is where it needs to be. I think mindset's where it needs to be. Focus on the process, not necessarily the result, and then starting to get healthier and healthier, right? And I think this week 9, we don't have a game, but we'll get some guys back for week 10 and be ready to roll for playoffs.
Want to just ask kind of your perspective coaching here at Skyridge. You've been here for several years now. What is it like to coach in this community? Great turnout Friday night, obviously senior night, also recognizing and trying to honor a senior who's going through his own battle. What is it like to be a part of this Skyridge community?
Yeah, tremendous community. And been here now a few years, but one of the best games is always that Lehigh game with those guys and the turnout of the community here. It's a community that loves football, loves the kids, loves the community, and I think the boys here are tremendous in their ability of wanting to be coached, wanting to be challenged, right? And as a coach, there's nothing else we can ask for.
So, Coach, obviously we had a chance to talk to some of your leaders offensively, defensively today. Who are some of the players on this team that maybe don't get the headline, don't get the publicity, but that are really big, either sideline, practice, or even in a game that maybe they just don't get a lot of shout-out?
Yeah, I think there's a tremendous amount of guys that we have in our program that might not get the attention, but provide a huge role for us, right? And I think our entire offensive line, from Taylor Astorga, Latu Moai, Andy Anderson, Dede Afalava, Soren Christiansen, right? Those guys, and even from a defensive standpoint, Easton Simmons, Sukafina is a big-time player for us. I think there's guys throughout this program that play huge roles for us, whether it's on the offense, defense, or special teams. Jared Nagley, Preston Kirk, right? These guys do a tremendous job for us, and we want to be who we are, where we are without those guys.
I love it because some of your players had some of those same kids named. What does that say to you think about the culture of this program, where coach and players all kind of recognize, it's not just headline guys, it's not just quarterback, like they all see the value of all 22 on the field or the whole roster? Yeah,
I think our guys have a good idea of knowing, right? I mean, it takes 11 guys every single play to do their job and do their job at a high level to be successful, right? If there's any weak link or somebody not doing their job, we get exposed, right? And whether you're the guy getting the attention or not, those things go a long way. And I think we try to make a point of emphasis of acknowledging our guys who are doing the unnoticed and the gritty things.
I want to ask, it felt like Friday night, double overtime win, obviously a long game, come from behind game. Senior night, a lot of things built up for Thursday night, but it felt like there was a little extra celebration, not inappropriate, but just more exuberance, relief, like joy from your team as Tahi ran that into the end zone. Did you get that sense that there was maybe a little something special about this win for your group?
I do. I think this one did mean a lot to our group. Throughout the game, I felt like we were dealing with a lot of adversity, right? Things that necessarily did not go our way. day, right? And we got to points where we tie at 10-10, we tie at 17-17, we tie at 24-24, but just couldn't get that lead, right? And for that thing to all be capped off at the end in the second overtime with an inside zone where Lincoln bust through, who's been one of our most selfless players all year. Just what he does for this team, not just running the ball, but he catches the ball in the backfield, his pass pro. For him to have that moment on senior night and that kind of things was something special.
Well, I'll tell you, the ground game was super impressive in that second half, Coach, to watch Keneal and Lincoln in the various play zone reads options you guys ran for him. I mean, super impressive. So impressive with your offense and with your defense, keeping you guys in that game and still on a really good Lone Peak offense. Congratulations on a big win on Thursday night.
I appreciate it. And thank you for what you do, Dusty and Dane, you guys, man, it means the world for what you guys do for high school football.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Really want to thank Harvey Moyai as well as Griffin Coons, of course, Keneal Sweetwine, and then Lincoln Tahi. Look, two very different halves. We kind of talked about that. The defense really, with the exception of two plays in that first half, did a great job limiting Lone Peak and then really kind of took away those big plays in that second half, and then that offense got going. And so impressive. Talked about with Coach Hem, the ground game of Skyridge. And this is a team that has a ton of versatility. We talked about Keneal Sweetwine. Years past, he's shown he can throw the football. We've always known he's been able to run the football, but when the time calls for it, all right, here's our strength, here's our advantage, let's go to it. And he operated this offense to near perfection, especially in that fourth quarter and in the overtimes. Super impressive with his game. And Lincoln Tahi, we had expectations of this young man. We were excited to see him, but man, he plays just so big and physical, and that just burst through the lens on Thursday night when we were covering that game and have a chance to talk to him. I love that he's like, I try to play like my dad, and that's where my inspiration comes from. I love young men that have great role models, and Lincoln Tahi, man, congratulations on a big night. Of course, his touchdown run in double overtime gave Skyridge the win, and of course, Coach Hem. Love his energy that he brings about him. He's got an aura and does such a great job here at Skyridge, building a program and helping to instill young men. You hear the players, what it's like to coach for him, and the difference that they get with him and his culture, and that culture that's here where, again, players and coaches all recognize guys that maybe don't get a lot of clout or a lot of notoriety, but are big, impactful players in the game, on the sideline. I love that players were willing to talk about their teammates as well, and that aligned with Coach Hem talking about some of his leaders in this Skyridge program. The Falcons get a big win Thursday night, 37-34 in double overtime over Lone Peak. They improved to 2-1 in region play. The Falcons have a bye in Week 9 before they'll close out the season in Week 10 with region championship hopes on their minds, and of course, RPI seeding. And we'll take this for a shameless plug. If you can't wait for the RPI, we will have the RPI Bracket Reveal Show. Come join us on KSLSports.com for the live bracket reveal on that Saturday after Week 10. Really want to thank Skyridge. Congratulations on the big win. Coach Hem, his players, fantastic job in the come-from-behind victory in double overtime over Lone Peak. For Vince Francis, my name is Dane Stewart. Thank you for joining us here for our player and coaches interviews here at Skyridge High School, presented by Edge Homes and Mo Bettas.